The Oracle Network.
Ladies, where are you at? That's you, Sean.
Ladies coming through.
That's you. You're the ladies.
I am ladies plural. Gross.
Ew, I didn't realize I did that.
Gross. Hello, friends.
Hey guys, welcome. I'm Abby.
And I'm Shauna.
And this is Anxious,
And Afraid,
the podcast.
where we talk about things that are spooky.
And nerve-wracking and anxiety-inducing.
That's what we're here for.
Yep, welcome if it's your first time.
Welcome back if it's not.
Ha!
Ha.
Split it.
We're so creative.
Yes. Hey guys.
Sup. We like to ask questions too.
Yep.
About what made us anxious or afraid recently.
Well, I'll go first.
I was going to ask.
Oh, okay.
What made you anxious or afraid this week?
We're a train wreck. And I'll tell you why. Because I haven't been sleeping, and it's been a couple weeks. I feel like I've had this issue of I can't fall asleep.
Oh, no.
I don't know if is it because I'm old? I don't know if it's because I'm stressed.
Oh, for sure, all the above.
But it takes me sometimes hours. Like I just lay there for hours, and I can't sleep. And the more times it happens, I think the more my anxiety goes up. Like,
Oh, yeah.
Now even just like getting into bed, like my anxiety is already like going up because I'm
Your
like,
brain can't shut off.
yeah, because I'm like, I'm not going to be able to sleep. I'm not going to be able to sleep. And
Oh, I
then
think
guess what?
people-
I can't sleep.
Yeah, I think people can relate for sure.
So maybe send me your tips if you have any or drug recommendations. I don't know what to do. I need to be able to sleep because this is getting nuts. I hate it.
You don't like melatonin, right?
Well, I haven't tried it recently. I think I tried a sleep aid one time, and I had the shakes really bad the next day. Like,
Oh, interesting. Oh, no.
really bad shaky hands.
Oh,
And I was
that's
like,
weird.
oh, I always get the weird side effects. That's the thing.
You do. Your body's weird on you.
If there's a side effect, I'll find it. I'm like a study's dream. They're like,
Oh,
get
for
her
sure.
in here. She's going to find all of them.
It's so true. I feel bad for you.
They're like, your tongue is green. That's a new one. But yeah, so I don't know. Maybe.
Haven't you done like some meditations or like...
Yeah, the meditation actually is starting to be more of a hindrance when I'm trying to sleep because,
It can be really hard.
well, sometimes it, like I'll start to fall asleep, but then it startles me back awake because, they go silent for a little bit.
Ah,
They scare you awake.
I see.
Yeah. And I guess I'm just really touchy because it's not Michael's fault, but he's a little bit of a snorer. He snores a little bit.
Oh, so is Chad and so am I.
Yeah.
We both complain about each other.
I know you guys always have problems with each other snoring. And so then I like focus on that. So that's another problem. Maybe I need a tranquilizer.
I feel like Chad can like fall asleep so quickly and it angers me.
It angers me.
It's like, how do you do that in like
How do
0.2
you do
seconds?
that? Michael is so good at it. He can sleep in just a few minutes. He's out. And I'm like, how do you do that?
It's a gift, man.
Give it to me. I want to know.
Well, I hope you get some sleep soon and stuff.
And stuff. Me too.
It's not fun.
Well, if I have a mental break, you'll know why.
Understandably.
How about you?
Oh, well, I do have an actual, because everyone loves to hear about my litter boxes.
Everyone loves to hear about your cat's shit. Please give us
Well,
an
I've been
update.
dealing with a lot of it lately, okay? And it's been sucky, and I don't understand what triggers it. It's my sweet girl Maya, of course.
The princess.
Problem child princess. But other than like her accidents, again, happening around the house, it's been a few days, knock on wood. But even though, because I'm pregnant, I'm not supposed to clean the litter boxes.
Right.
But Chad,
He doesn't listen to this podcast. Let's talk some shit.
he doesn't listen to me nag. He doesn't like me nagging. I try to remind him every day and he just doesn't do it. And sometimes a few days go by and I'm like, that's gross.
That's so gross.
That's why they're going to other places, because that's gross.
Yeah, because they don't want to get in there.
No, of course not. I wouldn't want to.
Yeah.
So I just like let him be for a second. I changed it myself, and we just got like the new bags. And of course, like the ones before were like turning blue. This was the whole thing with Maya, whatever.
The litter was the pretty litter.
Yeah, the pretty litter. And I'm still like medicating. I still have the medicine for Maya that I'm giving her every once in a while. And I have like little cans that are like specifically like for urinary care or whatever. And you know what? I didn't see no blue this time. And I know she has been going in there. So I got like way too excited.
That's good.
I was so excited. I was like, wow, I know she's definitely gone in here and I don't see blue. And I'm really happy about it.
Yay. So the medicine worked.
So I think after a while it's been working.
Yay. I'm
So
glad.
yay.
Hopefully her potty issues get better.
I know. If it's not one thing, it's the other one. It's number 2 all over the place. And it's just whatever. It's
Yeah.
fine. She's preparing me for child and poop everywhere.
She is. She's
For
like,
sure.
I'm going to do you a solid. Except for it won't be solid and it's going to
Except
be
for
all over the floor.
And it sucks because like she gets scared. So it sucks so hard because she'll just be running while she's pooping.
God.
And it's literally horrific. Okay. And it
Horrific.
It stings so bad. It's only happened twice and it hasn't happened for like a couple years. And I was just like, no, what's wrong with her?
Did you say it happened while we were in a Zoom meeting for work?
Yes.
And I had no idea there's a cat running around shitting in your apartment.
She left a wonderful huge glob like right behind my chair. Luckily it was on like the hard floor, but there was other places where that was at. And yeah, so the last like 10 minutes of that meeting or something, I just had to smell
Oh my God.
the horrific smell of cat shit. And so I'm like trying to put like oil on my face so I can like don't smell it because I'm like, oh my God, this meeting needs to stop. I need to clean this shit, literally. Like,
just be like, I'm pregnant and I must throw up.
I must go now. Bye. Yeah. So hopefully she's doing better. But yeah.
Well,
Litter update.
thanks for the update. Always so much fun.
So much fun. Everyone loves hearing about when they're
Yeah. Everyone was dying for the next update.
For sure. Well, I'm just gonna talk about that. So
Okay.
that was my thing. So you got a story for us, maybe?
I do. And I think you're gonna laugh.
Uh-oh, why?
Oh, we'll laugh. We'll laugh together. So you texted me earlier this week about that volcano alien.
Oh my gosh, right. I randomly remembered. I'm like, oh yeah, I must know.
So I was like, I think she's gonna be doing like an alien story this week.
Get out of town, are we psychic twins?
We are. And I had already picked my topic before you texted me. So I was like, so when you were talking about your topic for the last episode, I was like waiting on bated breath. I was like, if she says the same
That'd be the first time
thing,
ever.
what do I do?
Oh my gosh, you would have to confess and then we would just have to do the episode together or something.
We are now doing a joint episode.
That's so funny because I'm like usually the UFO storyteller and like this is your first one, right?
Yes.
I'm so proud of you. Yay, UFO vibes. Okay.
And it's funny because we did the same week. But
Yay.
okay. So yes, it's going to be kind of a fun case, you guys. It's not going to be all like gruesome and bloody and murdery.
I'm stoked.
Yeah, so probably won't ruin your lunch break or like whatever you're doing today.
That's great.
Okay, so we will be covering an unsolved mystery. And I was like trying to like build the suspense here, but now I don't have to because I spilled the beans. But I said it was a category I haven't covered yet, which is true.
Okay.
Okay, so today we will be covering the 1965 Kecksburg UFO Incident.
Kecksburg. I actually don't think I know this one.
Okay.
Oh my gosh, so excited. I'm so proud of you. Okay.
Yay, this will be fun. Okay. So I'm finally dipping my toe into the UFO land.
Oh, yay.
I first heard about this case while watching an episode of Unsolved Mysteries, like my favorite show.
Ah, okay. All right.
And I think I just find this story like weird and compelling, so I just had to do it.
Okay. I think I know, but I don't think I paid much attention to this episode, oddly enough, so I'm ready for it.
Ooh, okay. I feel like it was like a season premiere, maybe. Like it was the first episode on a season, I think. I could be wrong, but
I still can't get over we both did UFO episodes.
I know.
Because we're recording on the same day, so like, yay.
Yeah, I guess we've mentioned that before. Now we do 2 episodes on the same day, so she just recorded her episode, and I was sitting there the whole time thinking, oh my God, I'm also going to be doing a UFO.
I love it. Okay.
All right. Here we go.
Give it to me.
So first, I'm going to go through the event and eyewitness testimony, and then we can go over the theories because let's just say aliens aren't the only suspects in this case.
Oh, okay.
Okay, let's do it. So the date is December 9th, 1965. The day is coming to an end and the sun is starting to set in Ontario, Canada. It's 4:47 when the first Canadian pilot sees a bright flash and feels shock waves hit the fuselage of the plane. The pilot was shocked to see a bright flaming ball flying through the sky from the northwest heading on a northeast trajectory. They would be the first of many pilots to report the strange sight in the sky. But hundreds, if not thousands, of more people would see the strange spectacle from the ground. And many of those who didn't see the object itself could still see the trail it left behind.
Oh, okay.
There's actually photos of the trail.
Yay.
Yeah, so I'll try and find those.
I love pilot witnesses too, because I'm like, they're in the sky, they're legit.
Right. I don't think I wrote down the number, but there was it was in the 20s. Like there was 27 or something pilots that reported this.
Oh, damn. Okay.
Yeah, so a lot. The large flaming bright ball would fly quite a distance over the northeast of the United States, with sightings in Michigan, Ohio, New York, Indiana, and Pennsylvania.
Wow.
A weather observer in Columbus, Ohio, thought he was witnessing a large meteor when he saw the flaming mass pass through the sky. A federal air traffic controller made note of the flying object close to about 5 p.m. in Oberlin, Ohio. And smoldering debris reportedly fell from the object over Michigan and northern these places. I don't know why I'm struggling. Northern Ohio, which started small fires, but they were able to be put out and contained.
So there was debris on the ground from this?
Yeah, there's debris falling from it, and it's starting fires.
Do we still have those? Are they in evidence? Spacecraft?
Most of it burnt up. I think there might be some. I'll get to it at the end.
Okay.
In Pittsburgh, many civilians reported hearing sonic booms as the object passed by. Many of the witnesses who saw the object described it similarly as a large and very bright and fiery mass. Some described seeing green flames. And it was moving through the air at a seemingly steep descent, although many reported that the object was not moving super fast, about the speed of a small airplane.
Okay.
There were also several witnesses who reported the flying object flying fairly low to the ground, maybe only a couple of 100 feet up.
Okay.
As far as the complete flight path of the object, this is debated, and I've seen it reported differently depending on your source. But there are witnesses who describe seeing the object make a turn and head in a different direction.
Planes don't do that.
Leading many to believe this was not a meteor, but a controlled craft.
Yeah.
According to Stan Gordon, who is a well-known author and ufologist, as well as ufologist.
No, it's ufologist.
Ufologist, as well as a witness to the Kecksburg event. And he interviewed countless witnesses. And he believes that the object came down from the tip of Ontario on a southwest to southeast trajectory. The object then appeared to make a 25-degree turn towards the east in Cleveland, Ohio, and then came in on a straight path over Pittsburgh, where it made a turn again towards the south, and then another turn towards Kecksburg, Pennsylvania, which was located about 30 miles away from Pittsburgh. Okay, so let's talk about Kecksburg, because that's where the party's at.
Okay.
The Unsolved Mysteries episode interviewed several eyewitnesses from Kecksburg who had some very interesting stories to tell. Many of them told their stories for the first time on that episode after keeping silent for almost 25 years.
I believe it.
Yeah, because I think the show was recorded in 1990.
Oh, the episode? Mm-hmm. Oh, okay, so it's one of the old ones.
It's an old one.
Got you. Okay, I definitely
were you thinking the new ones?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Yes.
My bad.
I always watch the old vintage ones. Those are my favorite.
Nice, I should.
Yeah. I think they're all on Amazon Prime. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yes. So this is 65, but the show is recorded in the 90s. So these people are 25 years later, they're telling their story.
Yes.
Because, they feared ridicule from the public back in the 60s when this happened.
No shit.
Also, the town of Kecksburg was very small, less than 500 people in small towns talk. So I get why people didn't want to stick their necks out, I guess.
Oh, for sure.
Okay, so let's talk about some of these eyewitness accounts. So there's two young brothers, Rob and Ray Landy, and they were out riding their bikes together when they saw a brilliant ball of light come over the tops of the trees. The boys stopped their bikes and watched dumbfounded as the ball glided across the sky and disappeared over the treetops in the distance. Having no idea what to do with the hell they just saw, the young brothers took off on their bikes and rushed as fast as they could back home. I think they only interviewed one of the brothers, but he said that they were both like really familiar with different types of aircraft. And they said that the object was nothing like they'd ever seen before.
Okay.
They also said by the steep angle it was coming down, they assumed it had to have landed somewhere nearby. And they weren't wrong. About 3 miles away, another young boy named Randy Overly also saw the flying object. He was playing near a local creek when he heard a deep hissing noise coming from up above. Randy looked up and attempted to comprehend what he was seeing. A bright, fiery object was coming at him from a far distance away. And as it came towards him, the object passed overhead by only about 200 feet and was going no faster than, again, a small airplane. Which is kind of weird if you think about it. Like, I don't know, if you think something is coming in, like on like a fiery crash landing, it would be going fast.
Yeah.
But this thing is going like, I don't know, have you seen it?
Steadily slow-ish.
Kind of slow, like small airplanes can't go super fast.
Yeah, because if it's a crash landing, like that's gravity, that's, yeah, you'd think like hella fast. Right?
I would think so. Nearby, two more kids named Nevin and Nadine Kalp were playing outside when they saw the bright object pass overhead, flying low to the ground. They watched it crash into a wooded ravine half a mile away. Other people in the area reported hearing a thump and felt vibrations from the ground.
Ooh.
Another witness in the area named Bill Boolbush.
Well, that's a name.
Boolbush. Claims he saw the object turn around in the sky just like it was controlled before crashing into the woods. Nevin said, quote, "A ball of fire come through," and he had never seen anything like it before or since. Both kids watched as smoke began to rise from the wooded ravine. Nevin and Nadine returned home to find their mother, Frances Kalp, listening to an emergency broadcast over the radio. People were flooding the station with reports of a possible downed plane in the Kecksburg area, and the station was trying to gather information to find out exactly what it was and where it landed.
Yeah, can you imagine like being witness to a plane crash?
No.
Oh, traumatizing.
Like, this is like the 60s, and it's like that old radio broadcast.
Report, yeah.
Like, breaking. Crazy. Let's see. Okay, so Frances Kalp looked out her window at the rising bluish color smoke coming from the wooded ravine and picked up her rotary phone.
Rotary phone.
She called into the radio station to tell them it wasn't a plane that crashed. She believed that maybe it had been like a small piece of a plane that had fallen off and burned up. She said since she could see the smoke from where it landed, and she told them it was right by her farm.
Whoa.
The radio people thanked her, and she hung up, thinking that was the end of it. Think again, Frances. Only 2 to 3 minutes later, the phone was ringing. A man said he was with the U.S. Navy, and he was calling Frances and asking her to monitor the area. He told her to call the specific phone number that he gave her if anything strange were to develop.
Here, you have a job now. You need to surveillance everything.
You random woman. Can you please monitor? So I'll be like, isn't that your job? Like, okay.
Also, yeah, isn't it your job?
Right. And she's like, well, shouldn't I call like the local fire stations? And he's like, no, call that number I gave you. And she's like, and he said, you call us and we'll call them. She's like, okay. And she hangs up. And then she did what any of us would have done in that situation, and she immediately dials the phone number of her good friend to spill the tea. But before she could even manage like a Gladys, you will never believe this shit, the line was cut by the operator telling her an emergency call was coming through. She picks up, and it's the state police on the other line.
Okay.
Within 15 minutes, state troopers were on the scene at Frances's farm with 2 men dressed in plain clothes who never identified themselves. But even At the fast speed they arrived, the officers had lost most of the daylight, and the smoke from the crash had dissipated. The men began to set off through the field towards the trees in the direction the smoke had been coming from. The two men, dressed in plain clothes, were carrying a box-shaped contraption towards the trees. And in the Unsolved Mysteries episode, they kind of made it seem like it was what did you say in the last episode? The Geiger?
Yeah, Geiger counter.
Yeah, it seemed like they had one of those.
Okay.
Which is measures for like radiation.
Yes.
Frances asked the state trooper, she's like, what are all these people coming for? And
That's intense.
Right? You're just like, okay,
now you're bombarded with all of these like official people being all weird and
just showing up at your house.
So weird.
So she's like, what are all these people here for? And he said, well, they think they're going to see something, but when it comes out of here, nobody's going to see it. And she was like, well, maybe there isn't anything in there. And he said, oh, it's here. And she asked him how he knew, and he simply replied, radiation.
Okay, this is fucking weird.
Right?
That's creepy.
It is creepy.
Way to be ominous.
I know. Oh, it's here. You simple farm woman. So it kind of seems like the box the plain clothes guys were carrying around was probably like a radiation detector, but we don't know for sure.
Okay.
So as state troopers began to search the area in the dark, they were unaware that another civilian had already found the crash site, which was located about half a mile away from the Kalps farmhouse. It was the man from earlier in the story named Bill Bullbush.
The great name.
Yes. Who can forget Bullbush? He was the one that had reportedly seen the object make a controlled turn before crashing into the wooded ravine.
Okay.
Bill couldn't contain his curiosity and drove out to have a look at what had fallen.
I would.
Right? I feel like I would too. He made his way through the trees and claimed to come upon a 10-foot-long object, which was shaped like an acorn.
What? A 10-foot-long object shaped like an acorn.
Like a big-ass acorn.
Yeah, that's really big.
Bill... It's a big nut. Bill didn't dare get too close to the strange craft, as it was, in his words, still smoldering and apparently sparking as well. He noted that the object emanated a bright glow as well, but before he could investigate further, he heard the sounds of men approaching through the trees, and Bill ran for it.
Ooh.
By now, there were a number of people out searching for the crash site. Volunteer firemen had been called in to assist with the search, and a fireman named Jim Mays was leading a group of state troopers to the area. He took them up a side road that had a hill that overlooked the ravine. The men stopped on the hill to look, and they stared at the wooded ravine as it lit up with bright blue flashing lights. Jim said the lights were not flashlights, and they weren't another search party. He was very specific about the kind of light he'd witnessed and remarked that the light was very bright blue, like an electric welder. So that's coming from like where the craft object is.
Right.
He also recalled that the light seemed to be flashing in timed intervals, but not like flash bulbs on a camera. So I don't know, maybe strobing? After seeing this, the troopers decided to close the roads off and took the men back to the local Keksburg fire station. When the group made it back to the station, they found about 30 more volunteer firemen had gathered to wait for search orders. The men were told they were looking for a downed aircraft in the Keksburg area. The area was mapped out and split up into quadrants. Men were then divided and dropped off near the crash site in evenly spaced intervals so that they could search their designated quadrants. But before the last man could be dropped off, the first team radioed that they had found the craft. A volunteer fireman named James Romansky was searching his quadrant when he heard the call go out over the radio that the craft had been found. He remembered running as fast as he could, along with the other men on his team, to where the first search party was located in the woods. When they made their way through the trees, the men saw a large metal object buried halfway in the ground from the impact of the landing.
Wow.
James Romansky said that to him, the craft looked just like a fresh acorn.
Okay, so it's the craft that looks like an acorn.
Delicious oak nut.
That's an interesting way to describe a spacecraft. So it's not like necessarily a disc-like shape.
I feel like this is the first one I've ever heard described like an acorn.
Yeah, so it's like more fat, more round, but maybe with like still like a domey type top.
It has like, they call it a bumper, but yeah, it's got like...
Interesting.
I'll show you a picture.
Oh yeah, I want to see pictures.
On our break so you can kind of see like what I'm describing. But yeah, I guess...
Yeah, because that's different.
Imagine a flying acorn.
An acorn. Are they alien squirrels?
It doesn't have...
Alien squirrels are coming to get us.
It doesn't have like the stem thing, but it's,
right.
But yeah, it's got like a top
I can kind of picture it, but it's like, yeah, that's a different description than I've heard before.
Yeah, very, very strange. I haven't heard one described like this before either.
Yeah.
So it had no wings, no motors, no propellers, no seams or rivets, no windows, and no recognizable identification or numbers.
That's crazy.
Right? It's just one solid hunk.
Metal thing.
Yeah.
That's wild. Okay.
It was a goldish bronze color, which was interesting because yours...
It's kind of like a nut. Nut color.
It's a roasty toasty nut. In your last episode, didn't you say it emanated like a golden light, or the craft did?
Yes. They still described it as like silvery metallic, but a golden glow.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so this is already golden-y colored. Mm-hmm. So it's, a goldish bronze color, and the size was estimated at about 10 to 12 feet long and 8 to 10 feet around.
Wow.
Like, a man could probably easily like stand up inside of it, I guess.
Yeah.
James was quoted in an article in the Latrobe Bulletin saying that, quote, "We found the object had crashed at a 30 to 40 degree angle and had broken off numerous tree branches in its impact path. My initial reaction was, this is no airplane. I observed no shrapnel, no breaking up of the fuselage. It was one solid piece, no doors, no windows."
Yeah, so it's definitely not even a piece of a craft at all.
It's just like a hunk.
Wow.
Hunk of nut.
Hunk of nut.
It's a hunk of nut. And he goes on, "Preliminary searches found no bodies or casualties. It was shaped like an acorn, laying on its side, like the acorn nut is in its shell when it's on a tree. I've been a mechanic for 24 years, or machinist, sorry, for 24 years. And I've learned or worked with a tremendous amount of different metals, and I've never seen any type of metal that looked even close to that."
Weird.
James said that the object was not broken. He said not cracked, or not even cracked, just dented a bit. It did not give off smoke, steam, or vapors, at least none that we could see.
That seems so wrong.
Right?
That's so extra strange.
Like some giant alien space squirrel dropped their nut.
And it only has a few dents in it, and there's no like actual smoke or like evidence of smoke.
Which is a little different from the first guy's account, because he said that it was like sparking. So that's
true.
Different.
But maybe he was like mistaking that for like flashing lights or something.
I don't know. Or
Very
maybe he came upon it first, so maybe it was still sparking when he got there, but the other guy came to it later. I don't know.
Could be.
But yeah, their accounts are a little different, so there's that. Mm-hmm. So Romansky said that there was a bumper on the bottom half, or I guess if you're using the acorn comparison, the bumper is the little acorn hat.
Yeah, the hat.
Yes.
The nut hat.
The little hat. And written upon the bumper were shapes and symbols Romansky had never seen before. But the closest he could come to describing them were like Egyptian hieroglyphics.
I was going to say, it sounds like hieroglyphics. Mm-hmm. Which I've heard in other UFO alien stories.
I know.
Okay.
He said there were stars and shapes and figures and circles and lines. He said, quote, "It had sort of a bumper on it, like a ribbon about 6 to 10 inches wide, and it stood out. It was elliptical the whole way around, and the writing was on this bumper. It's nothing like I've ever seen, and I'm an avid reader. I read a lot of books on Egypt, the Incas, Peruvians, Russians, and I've never, to this day, come across anything that looked like that."
That is so strange.
It would be really strange to see something like that and then try and describe it, because if it's not like anything you've seen before, like, how do you even describe it?
It's literally out of this world. Like, it's hard to compare it to worldly things.
Like, what is it? You're like, I literally don't know.
It's shapes and symbols I don't understand. And on an acorn.
Yeah.
Metallic acorn chip.
They're like, oh, okay, back to the funny farm. I think you need a nap. There was a giant acorn in the woods.
Oh my gosh. Okay, so fascinating.
Okay, so back to the woods. So this group of men, they're standing around the craft checking it out when two uniformed men enter the scene and tell them that they all must leave immediately. They're in a quarantined area. Get the hell out, normies. As the volunteers left, they saw the military coming in, and by the time they got back to the station, it was wall-to-wall military. Within 3 hours of the crash, the military had set up a base at the fire station and they restricted civilian movement in the area. When the volunteer firemen returned to the station, they were not allowed back in, and they had to wait outside.
Rude.
I know, they weren't even allowed to use the bathroom.
Rude.
They volunteered.
That's not how you should treat firefighters.
Very rude. And there was armed guards out, so they're serious about it.
Yeah, this is like super sketch.
But the fire station wasn't the only place that had gotten taken over by the military. Poor Lillian Hayes and her family had recently moved into their farmhouse about a month prior and were now entertaining groups of military men in the late night hours.
Oh, man.
The Hayes farm was also located very close to the crash site, and the military were using frequent use of her telephone while traipsing in and out of her house.
That'd be so annoying to like literally have just like the military move into your home.
I know, just show up at your door like
this is our workstation now. Bye.
Excuse me, ma'am.
I guess you can still sleep here, but we're using your phone.
And I'm not wiping my feet. Where's the toilet?
Oh, man.
So Lillian Hayes would later check her phone.
Roscoe.
Sorry, we have the dog. I don't know if anyone heard that, but he made a bear noise.
Dreaming.
So they're making all these phone calls, and Lillian Hayes would later check her phone bill to see if she could get a glimpse of who the officers had been calling, but not a single call ever showed up on her bill.
Oh, interesting.
Isn't that creepy? They think of everything.
They like hide everything. They know everything and they hide it.
They're like, wipe any evidence that we were ever here.
I'm telling you, they know. They
so
know everything.
Creepy.
I'm telling you.
I wonder, like, if when they call it already blocks it, or if they called the phone company to be like, erase it.
Yeah, I don't know, but they know.
Yeah. That, for whatever reason, really freaked me out. I'm like, ew.
Yeah, that's a eerie detail.
Thanks to the radio broadcast about the downed aircraft in Kecksburg, a large crowd of people had gathered on the road and field near the wooded ravine, hoping to catch a glimpse of the action. Among them was a 19-year-old Bill Weaver, who was there trying to get a look amongst a large crowd in the field near the ravine. Weaver looked down into the wooded ravine and said he saw bright lights coming from within. He and the rest of the crowd observed a large truck drive down to the scene and 4 men in full hazmat suits carrying a large white box about 5 feet by 5 feet in size.
Oh, okay, big.
The 4 men carried it down to the ravine and disappeared into the trees. Some of those who saw the box speculated that it was too small for the craft itself.
Right.
So they're like, perhaps they were trying to take something that was inside
a squirrel alien body?
A squirrely? But we don't know.
Yeah, because that's also not the average size of a human.
Right.
But aliens are small.
5 by 5 box.
Squirrel aliens.
Squirrely. We're getting squirrely. Sadly for the curious onlookers, the army arrived on the scene and they cleared out all of the spectators.
Of course.
Shutting down the party. As always, haters. Some of the witnesses claimed that the military threatened to confiscate people's cars if they didn't leave.
Believe it.
I don't know why you would try and argue with the military.
No.
Yeah, like, yeah, I'll fuck off. You're right.
Yeah, like, you're the military with all the guns. I'm gonna go.
I see you have a gun there. I'll be going.
Like, people who think that they can take on the military is so funny to me.
Terrifying. God.
Like, who do you think you are?
I don't have the balls. Very, very brave. Let's see. Okay, so back at the station, the volunteers watched a military jeep come over the hill with a large flatbed truck behind it. The convoy was traveling away from the crash site, and on the flatbed truck was a large object strapped down and covered with a tarp. What's under there?
Is that the craft? Did they take it?
Yeah, they took it.
They took it. Of course they took it.
They
have it. They still have it.
And they're writing in it. And they're making squirrel friends. So the convoy went speeding past the Kecksburg fire station without a backwards glance. And at the speed they were moving, the volunteers wondered if they would have even stopped if one of them had like stepped in their path. Like they were hauling ass away.
Yeah.
The volunteer firemen weren't the only ones to see the large object on the back of the flatbed truck. John Hayes, the son of Lillian Hayes, who was 10 at the time, there at that farmhouse, watched the military convoy with the flatbed truck pass by below his bedroom window. He, sorry. Oh, yeah, I was just re-explaining. He was part of that family that their house got turned into the base camp. And from his vantage point at the second-story window, he could see a large object about the size of a Volkswagen Beetle sitting beneath a tarp.
Okay.
But when the truck... the truck quickly drove off into the night, never to be seen again. The next day, the mysterious Keksberg unidentified flying object would be the talk of the town and the subject of various newspaper headlines across the Northeast. While some of them read, "Unidentified flying object falls near Keksberg" and "Army ropes off area," other publications had headlines that read, "Searchers fail to find object," and "Search for meteor is unsuccessful." If you're confused by those last ones, it's because, perhaps unsurprisingly, the U.S. Military stated in their official report that they searched the woods but found absolutely nothing.
Oh, no way. They're like lying? No way.
Are you saying they're dishonest?
They're saying they saw nothing, but they took something away?
Yeah. They're like, we didn't see no aliens, we didn't see no craft, we didn't see no meteor.
Wow. Classic. You can't see my huge eye roll right now, but I'm rolling it hard.
She almost popped her eyes out. They rolled so hard. Okay, so I think it's about time to go over the popular theories for this case, but before we do, I think we should take a break.
Okay.
Welcome back.
Hello.
To the Nut Fest.
So you showed me a picture, and it's like an upside down acorn. I was picturing a right side up acorn.
Okay.
So it's kind of like a bell shape.
Yeah.
To me. But, okay. Now I'm in the vibe again.
Okay. So, yeah, I hope everyone took that moment to look up a picture.
Yeah, please do.
I feel like I had to see it. I'm more of a visual person.
Oh, for sure.
All right. So, now, let's talk theories, because, of course, there's a few.
Okay.
Was it a big old fiery meteor?
Could have been, I guess. Could have been.
It's trying to finish us off like the dinosaurs. Coming up for round 2. This seems to be the most popular theory reported in news publications and also asserted by the military.
Totally. Makes sense.
According to Wikipedia, astronomer Paul Anier said the fireball was likely to have been a meteor entering the Earth's atmosphere. Astronomers William P. Biddleman and Fred Hess said it undoubtedly was a meteor bolide. And a bolide, by the way, is basically just a super bright meteor.
Oh, okay.
A spokesperson for the Department of Defense in Washington said first reports indicated the reported fireball was a natural phenomenon.
Of course.
And I'm sure when people saw it, they probably all assumed they had seen a meteor. I probably would think that too if it was from a distance.
Yeah, if you're thinking logically, that should be the thing you think about. I totally get that.
And it was a fiery thing, so
yeah,
that would...
Especially if it had a trail kind of thing.
Yeah.
But if you see it turn...
That's the weird thing.
That's the
turning.
weird thing, yep.
Yeah, the turning is the weird thing. But that's not reported everywhere. Some people don't say anything about turning, so, hard to say. Okay, so I saw in a couple of sources, though, that astronomers have calculated the trajectory of where they thought the meteor should have landed, and Kecksburg was way out of the question.
Oh.
So they thought it should have landed near Lake Erie, which is, not even close.
Interesting, okay. Because it turned.
Yeah, because it turned. So, but even still, that doesn't explain all of the hubbub at Kecksburg with the military and all that. If it was just a meteor, why would you call in the military?
Yeah, intense military.
Intense.
Very secretive. That's right. Mm-hmm. That also gives it away. I'm sorry.
We strike it down. Okay, next one. Was the Keksberg... It's funny that you said Bell. Okay. Was the Keksberg UFO a top-secret experimental time-traveling death machine built by the Nazis?
No.
How do Nazis always pop up in my stories? I feel like it's always
True.
just like, what's behind door number 2? It's a Nazi. They pop up everywhere.
Well, I mean, they do come up a lot in UFO stories as well.
Yeah, they were like into some weird shit.
They were into like trying to get like crazy crafts going.
Yeah.
So I get it.
Yeah.
But like time traveling, some people do suspect that maybe UFOs are actually time travelers.
Right. This has a little to do with that, a little bit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't think we can do that.
I'm not gonna spend like a ton of time on this theory because in my opinion it's the least likely to be true.
Yeah, I'm not buying it.
But who doesn't want to learn about a top secret
Love talking
Nazi
about
death machine?
Yeah, time travel. Here we go.
Here we go. So this top secret project revolved around this technical wonder weapon, or Wunderwaffe, which is wonder weapon in German. And they called it the Die Glock, or the Nazi bell.
A bell. Yep. Okay.
The bell, engineered by Nazi scientists. This is all alleged, by the way. We don't actually know if this thing even existed.
Oh, for sure.
So the bell, engineered by Nazi scientists, was supposedly a large bell-shaped metal contraption that glowed and rotated and was rumored to have, quote, some kind of anti-gravitational effect, and to be a time machine, or be part of a SS anti-gravity program for a flying saucer.
Right.
So yeah, they wanted their very own flying saucer.
Yeah. They wanted to be it.
They did. I guess there's like whole shows about this kind of stuff, like on the History Channel. I came across. They're very into the whole Nazi UFO stuff.
Yeah, it's a thing.
I guess it is. So okay, according to UFOinsider.com, the Nazi bell was designed for anti-gravity propulsion. Within the craft, 2 cylinders would counter-rotate. As this happened, a substance similar to mercury and violet in color, called Zerum 525, filled the cylinders. Zerum 525 was said to be extremely volatile and was stored in a meter-high thermos flask encased in lead. This substance, I googled, also probably not real. This Zerum 525, I think it's also totally made up.
Kind of reminds me of Stitch, where he's like experiment like 626 or whatever.
Yes. Okay. So Zerum is this magical purple liquid that's also very volatile, apparently. Okay. So then a mirror-like material lined the interior of the bell, and when active, this mirror would show, quote, visions of the past or future.
Okay.
So the craft was also supposedly had the ability to bend time and space. So it's a time machine. Also, can kill you.
Yeah, that's rough to buy.
Yeah, so when the bell was active, anything, supposedly, within 600 feet of it would be seriously injured, if not killed. Supposedly, 5 of the 7 original scientists selected for the project died during the experiments. Effects of these injuries included the formation of crystals in animal tissues and gelling and separation of the blood.
Ew, that sounds nasty.
That is really gross. So now supposedly a Nazi scientist gave these plans to the U.S. government as part of, Operation Paperclip after the war. Ew. So it's theory that the U.S. government was doing tests on the Nazi bell, which is why the military showed up so fast after it landed.
Oh, that's interesting. Okay, I can fathom something like that.
It's also been theoried that the scientists who worked on the Nazi bell were testing its time travel capabilities, and then, oopsie poopsie pie, things got a little out of hand, and now their death machine landed in the middle of nowhere decades in the future.
I mean, haven't they, actually attempted to make a time machine, or,
The Nazis?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure they attempted to, but I feel like if they figured it out, they would have won the war.
True that.
I don't know.
So, I don't know. I guess I could understand this theory, or this part of the theory.
Don't let me convince you of this insane theory.
Okay. I'm not buying it, actually.
I really don't think it's real.
Definitely squirrely.
It's squirrely. This theory is very squirrely. I don't... and it's been widely discredited.
Yeah.
In the absence of really any believable proof or evidence.
I guess I just believe in, shady government workings togethers on weird objects.
I think it's because this theory has things that are real inverifiable, like Operation Paperclip. You know, we got all those Nazi scientists.
Yeah,
so,
yeah.
like, things did happen that are real, but I
That's
don't
how you
think
get
this
it. Yeah.
is real.
Totally.
Yeah, so that's the weird Nazi angle.
Okay.
That one's not for me, but it's a fun one.
No.
Next was the Keksberg UFO, a spy satellite.
Ooh. Okay.
So this theory actually, it's got some legs to it. It ticks a lot of boxes.
Okay.
Initially, many people believed that the Keksberg UFO was a downed Russian satellite called the Cosmos 96. It was theorized that the satellite fell out of orbit before making its fiery descent back to Earth. According to Wikipedia, in December of 2005, just before the 40th anniversary of the Kecksburg Incident, NASA released a statement reporting that experts had examined metallic fragments, that's what you were asking about earlier, that had fallen.
Mm-hmm.
So they examined metallic fragments from the area and determined they were from a Russian satellite that re-entered the atmosphere and broke up.
Interesting.
But, conveniently, records of their findings were lost in the 1990s.
No way.
Isn't it just so funny that, like, top secret documents go missing all the time?
It's just like they accidentally just, like, these super important papers just, like, magically go in the trash can.
It's like a whole box of documents just, like, poofed, just, it's gone.
Wow.
So, NASA released a statement about the ordeal stating, quote, "As a rule, we don't track UFOs. What we could do..."
Why not? It's also your job. You're in space. Okay.
Don't you care about space? What we could do, and what we apparently did as experts in spacecraft in the 1960s, was to take a look at whatever it was and give our expert opinion. Mm-hmm. We did that. We boxed the case up, and that was the end of it. Unfortunately, the documents supporting those findings were misplaced.
Convenient.
We don't believe you, NASA.
Yeah, NASA.
Sounds like you're trying to be all, like, high and mighty about this.
A little sketch, too.
Yeah.
They've definitely seen weird UFO stuff.
Oh, come on. They have
for
to have.
Sure have.
Pilots see weird stuff. You're going to tell me
Astronauts
space pilots
yeah,
don't?
astronauts literally said they saw things looking at them while they were walking on the moon. I believe they all
Ew,
know.
really?
Oh, have you not heard of that?
I don't like that.
Oh, yeah, they saw things.
Gross.
Things are there, I'm telling you.
Oh.
And they know it.
Okay. All right. So, I don't believe NASA, and neither did a woman named Leslie Keene, who was an investigative reporter for the Sci-Fi Channel. Didn't know they had those.
Nice.
She decided to sue NASA under the Freedom of Information Act.
Oh.
And in 2007, NASA was ordered to search for the missing documents, but ultimately came up empty-handed.
Oh, wow. So that happened like in 2007.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Recently. As for the Cosmos 96, it was reported that the satellite did come down on the day in question, December 9th, 1965. However, it was determined that the satellite landed in Canada 13 hours earlier that day and therefore could not have been the Keksberg UFO.
Interesting.
But the Cosmos 96 was not the only satellite that could have been responsible for the event. Mm-hmm. The United States government-made GE Mark II re-entry vehicle. This thing. So now, in my opinion, this is probably one of the strongest ones for the Keksberg UFO.
Okay.
Besides aliens. Including the shape of it.
Okay.
Which is a weird shape, right?
It's such a weird shape.
And that's what they talk about. A lot of the researchers are like, we haven't come across anything else like to even closely explain the weird shape that everyone said it was.
Yeah, like the shape like that wouldn't be, as we know, something able to fly. It's just a fat chunk of acorn metal. Like, it just doesn't make any sense.
You sound like it's like disapproving mother. You're a fat chunk of acorn metal. You will never fly.
That's going to be my new diss. You're a fat. That's funny. Okay. Chunk of acorn metal. Okay.
You'll never fly.
You'll never fly. Okay. Oh my gosh. Love it.
Don't listen to her, baby, in her belly.
Gotta write that one down.
Just write it down for future scoldings. Okay. All right. So, according to an article in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, 2 researchers thought they had finally found the answer to the long-standing Keksberg UFO. John Ventre, I think it's Ventre. It's Ventre.
Letters. Sounds.
Venter.
It's all good.
The state director of the Mutual UFO Network.
Hey, move on.
Hey there. And Owen Eichler, who had been researching this case for decades, had concluded that the Keksberg UFO was most likely the downed GE Mark II reentry vehicle. According to the Smithsonian National Air and Space Museum, the GE Mark II reentry vehicle was an unflown Mark II reentry vehicle.
We support you, girl.
Here we go.
You got it.
That carried the nuclear warhead atop the U.S. Air Force Thor intermediate range ballistic missiles and early test versions of the Atlas intercontinental ballistic missile in the late 1950s and early 1960s. So this is made by General Electric, which is weird. I always forget they make other things other than ovens.
Oh, they're like huge.
So the blunt nose is copper and the rest of the metal is stainless steel. It is the only operational, quote, heat sink reentry vehicle the United States employed and was designed to protect the warhead from the tremendous heat generated during reentry into the Earth's atmosphere by absorption. So in the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette, John Venter explains their theory. Quote, this vehicle was in the nose cone of the Thor Atlas and Jupiter rockets in the early 1960s, and it was upside down, which means that the cone section was embedded in the vehicle. Everybody was looking for a nose cone with a point, and that's what threw us for so many years. I researched so many vehicles of the time period, mostly Russian and American, and we couldn't find any that matched what was seen in Keksberg until we learned the entry vehicle was inverted in the nose cone, and that was the aha moment.
Aha.
And I'll show you a picture of the reentry vehicle.
Okay.
What they're talking about. It is kind of similar.
Okay, very interesting.
According to their research, Venter and Eichler believe the vehicle was launched from Johnston Island in the Pacific on December 7th, 1965, 2 days before the Kecksburg Incident, as part of America's top-secret program for spying on the Soviet Union from space. Officially, the GE Mark II was never actually launched, but researchers argue that the government wouldn't have admitted to testing a Soviet spy satellite.
Oh, for sure.
So arguments supporting this theory, the size and shape do appear to be similar to the Keksberg UFO.
Okay.
And the GE vehicle had 4 controlled jets, which would explain the controlled turning descent that witnesses described.
All right.
It's created to kind of like slow down the impact. So
Okay. I'm with you.
Right. So one of the metals in its construction was copper, which would explain the green flames people saw and the bronze color witnessed at the crash site.
That totally makes sense. All right, dang it. This makes sense.
Damn it.
Damn it.
God damn it. And photos of the reentry vehicle seem to show markings that might have seemed foreign to civilian observers.
Oh, yeah, the hieroglyphic type
I feel like that's a stretch, though. I don't know. So researchers also believe that the GE Mark II had a nuclear or atomic generator in it, which is why the men in the moon suits showed up to collect it. The military also would have obviously been tracking the craft after its launch, which is why the military arrived so quickly on the scene.
For sure.
But as for confirmation on this theory, neither NASA nor the government will acknowledge or disclose any more information to solidify these findings. But you have to admit, it's like a pretty good...
It's a pretty
good theory.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
And the pictures, the GE Mark II reentry vehicle, it is like a cone shape. And it has a wide base to it. So you can kind of see that it's kind of like an acorn, but I don't know. It doesn't look, when I've seen pictures of it, it certainly doesn't look otherworldly as described by the witnesses. So I don't know, but it's a good theory.
Yeah.
But I'm sure everyone wants to get to the most fun theory, which is, of course, aliens.
Yep.
Okay, let's talk extraterrestrials and a possible government cover-up.
I love it.
So I watched and read a couple of interviews with Stan Gordon, who is one of the most well-known researchers on this case. He was like a witness. I think he was a child when this happened, but he's been researching since he was like 10 years old.
Oh, I mean, how can you not be obsessed?
Yeah,
after seeing something like that?
He's a diehard.
For sure.
And he's also interviewed many of the Keksberg residents who witnessed the event.
Cool.
He even made a documentary called Keksberg, The Untold Story, using the interview footage he had collected, which contains accounts from people who have like long since passed away. So it's he was like, it's important to preserve their accounts.
Yeah, for sure.
And I would have totally watched this documentary if the only way to view it wasn't a DVD that you have to purchase.
Oh, no.
You can't stream it. You literally have to have a DVD player, which I don't even think we have.
I don't think I have that either anymore.
Michael, do we have a DVD player?
It's a USB DVD player.
Oh. Well, I guess I could have, but...
Times are changing fast, guys.
I know, I was like, a DVD?
We used to have, like, towers full of DVDs and collections.
So many cases.
Wow.
You get the CD books. Oh. Okay. So I didn't watch his DVD, but it is out there if anyone wants to watch it. I heard it's actually really good. It's older, but it's good. Okay, so according to Stan Gordon, he interviewed a man who claimed to be a member of the Air Force Police and a member of the security team which guarded the object taken away from the crash site on the back of a flatbed truck. The man, who wanted his name kept private, said the truck was escorted to Lockbourne Air Force near Columbus, Ohio. Upon arrival, they backed the truck into a hangar and set up a security perimeter with shoot-to-kill orders if any unauthorized personnel attempted to enter.
Ooh, intense.
Super intense. The man heard the truck continued on to Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, but was unsure of where it went after that. Stan Gordon also concluded from several witness reports that the military who showed up on the scene in Kecksburg were the Air Force's 662nd Radar Squadron based in Pittsburgh, and Gordon believes that unit was part of a top-secret project studying UFOs. Apparently, Gordon checked the military records, and there is no entry at all for December 9th in the December log for all unit activity, leading him to believe that the government is hiding what they were doing that night. It's like,
sure.
It's weird that they just left it blank. Like, we didn't do anything today, actually.
Nothing exists on that day.
It was a great day. We all just slept all day. So all of the government secrecy in this case also does little to quell the rumors of an alien spacecraft landing in Kecksburg. It's pretty fishy that they brought the military out and then were seen leaving with an object on the back of a truck that they didn't come there with. And then they were all like, no, we didn't find anything.
What are you talking about?
Didn't find a single thing. The description of the craft from eyewitnesses also suggests that the craft was not of this world if the strange alien markings on the bumper can be believed. Along with the craft design, which was said to be made out of one solid piece of metal. After looking at the GE Mark II, I can confidently say that it had seams and rivets, and it definitely looked man-made.
Oh, and see, like, okay, and the craft had nothing like that.
Yeah, that's where the descriptions are really different.
Interesting.
And even in the 1960s, I would think seeing the GE craft wouldn't immediately make people believe it was an alien spacecraft. I'll definitely post pictures of it so you guys can see it. But it doesn't look like, I don't know, I'm living in modern times, so my viewpoint is slanted. But to me, it doesn't look like a otherworldly craft when you see it. And also just the way the craft reportedly moved with the controlled turns speaks to some of the, crazy UFO videos that we've all recently seen.
Yeah.
The way they move.
Oh, yeah.
Except for that the Keksberg UFO didn't fly very fast. It flew slowly, which is kind of weird.
Yeah.
But maybe that's because it was damaged. I mean, it crashed, so who knows? Additionally, pointing to a government cover-up was the experience of local radio broadcaster John Murphy, who worked for the WHJB station. Murphy reportedly made it to the crash site before the military, and he had a camera with him. He claimed to have taken several photos and then began interviewing other eyewitnesses who were on the scene. When the military pulled up, Murphy claimed that they demanded his camera film, which he handed over. But he didn't tell them that he had a hidden film canister that he didn't tell them about.
Badass.
Yeah.
Yes.
Murphy reportedly showed the pictures he was able to keep to his wife. And she said that the images were really dark and there's just a lot of trees, but she was kind of able to make out like a cone-shaped object in the photos. John Murphy, in the following weeks, began working on a radio documentary using the audio interviews he had collected from the scene. But before he could air his findings on the radio, 2 men in black suits who identified themselves as government officials showed up at the station to have a little chat with John.
Right there. Stop it.
I won't. A radio station employee recalls the meeting happened behind closed doors and lasted about 30 minutes. When it was over, John's audio recordings had been confiscated, and nobody knows what happened to the photos. Murphy still apparently released his radio documentary, but it had been heavily edited and now disclosed no new information. It was reported that Murphy became depressed after the show was released to the public and never wanted to speak of the event again.
Oh, he was broken.
I know, and he would tragically later lose his life in a hit-and-run accident while on vacation.
On vacation.
Sad.
That's terrible.
There have also been some more outlandish reports of military personnel reportedly seeing a scaly reptilian-looking hand hanging off of a covered stretcher.
Ooh.
Which was supposedly recovered from the Keksberg UFO, but these reports are like super unconfirmed, and I don't place a lot of stock in them.
Yeah.
And I'm sure there's other accounts and theories out there, but yeah, that's pretty much all I have for you on the Keksberg UFO.
Wow, I have not heard of that one. That is fascinating.
What do you think? Aliens? Satellite? It's hard.
You know, my heart is always wanting to say aliens.
aliens.
But that one theory really does check off a lot of boxes.
It does. That's the only one that I'm like, dang it.
Dang it.
Dang it.
So it was probably that.
I mean, I'll show it to you. They would have had to have been like really hyped up to see that and then describe the acorn shape that they saw. Because it's, yeah, I don't know.
That is just so weird.
It's a weird one.
Yeah.
Unsolved mystery.
It is unsolved.
But yeah, first alien case. Woo woo.
I'm so proud of you. You did so good.
Thank you.
That was fun.
There's so many words.
Yeah, there was a lot of big words in there.
God.
All in like the same sentence too.
I know. I was like, I think I blacked out during that sentence. Did it make sense? I don't know.
Yeah, no, you did good. Thank you very much. That was awesome.
Of course. Well, I think it's time for...
City of the Week?
Yeah.
Let's do it. And that goes to Surrey, Canada.
Thanks, Canada.
Hey, Canada.
We love you.
Thank you so much for listening. That's awesome.
Yeah.
We
So many international listeners.
I
these days.
know. What's going on? I don't know. It's so weird.
I know.
But I love it.
Yeah, me too.
That's awesome. We're in other people's ears. That's like weird.
I'm in their ear right now. They've all left now.
I know. They're like, okay, done. But yeah, thank you very much, Canada. Have you been like watching anything or listening to anything?
Not anything new, I don't think.
No.
I watched the Bob Ross documentary. That was good.
Oh yeah, I still gotta watch that.
Yeah, that was really good.
Interesting. Okay, I gotta watch that. It's on my list.
Yeah.
Speaking of like Netflix, have you seen like the new show? Like it's just another fun one because I just needed like some easy watching stuff. But it's called Tattoo Redo.
I've seen the thumbnail for it.
Yeah.
No, I haven't.
It's a fun one because it's like people who come in with like terrible, awful tattoos, and the person that brought him in gets to choose the cover up for them.
Oh.
Which is very fun. And so they don't get to see or choose or anything this brand new tattoo that's going on their body.
Whoa.
And then you see the reactions and it's fun.
Shoot.
So I thought that was a fun one.
Brave. That's a friend test right there.
Oh, I know. I was like, if me and Abby had to do this, I would trust her. She would know me.
You put like Bugs Bunny on your ass.
No. But that's a fun one if you needed like an easy, quick watch.
That is fun. I've been watching it's also on Netflix called Repair Shop. Have you seen that?
No.
It's like British aloe vera balm for your brain.
Yum.
For old people. It's like if Antiques Roadshow and I don't know. It's my jam because it's just like British people repairing really old things.
Oh, that sounds just like delightful.
It is a very nice like before bed show if you need to wind down.
Yeah. Netflix, man. All right. So we need to not forget about the sparkling cider.
Oh yeah, we have to celebrate our anniversary.
We're gonna take a pic of that, hopefully, and celebrate us doing a podcast.
And I think that's all, right?
That's it.
All right. Well, I'm gonna say good up and good night.
Good night.
Night. All right, my sources are Wikipedia, UFOinsight.com, postgazette.com, Pabook.libraries.psu.edu, educatinghumanity.com, stangordon.info.com, blackdiamondsocialclub.com, and airspace.edu. Our music is by Broke for Free and Matt Edwards, and we are edited by Michael.
All right. Should I list our social needs?
Please do.
We have a lot of our things at Anxious and Afraid the Pod. So that's our handle for both of our Facebook page and group, along with our Instagram and Gmail.
We have a Twitter at AA the Pod.
You can support us on patreon.com/anxious and afraid.
If you do that, you get some pretty nice perks. You get ad-free episodes that are released a whole day early, and you get a free sticker.
You can also support us for free if you can't do any of that by leaving a rate review. You subscribe to the show, tell your friends.
Yeah, we would appreciate all of it too right now.
Anxious and Afraid is partnered with the Oracle Network.